Good evening and welcome to this live stream for Nottingham Buddhist Centre. My name is Paul and I'll be with you this evening to guide you through this evening's meditation. So we've just got a few minutes before we're starting, but we do have a chat function on this live stream. So if you would like to send a comment to us, that's great. Looks like we've got people starting to arrive, which is lovely to see. So we'll be here for perhaps just short of an hour this evening. So if you are just arriving, perhaps just send me a little message in the chat section, just to say hello or whatever you feel like, really, just so that I know you can hear me loud and clear. That would be great. So this evening's meditation that we'll be doing will be the mindfulness of breathing. And it will be a fully guided meditation. We will start with a simple sort of settling down exercise, just to check in, really, just to arrive. And looks like we've I got a first message from Martin. Thank you. Looks like you can hear me loud and clear, which is great to see. We'll just have a sort of check in with our bodies just to make sure that we're nice and relaxed and prepared for meditation. And then I'll be guiding you through the meditation, the mindfulness of breathing, later on. And if you've never done meditation before, then that's absolutely fine. I will describe the different stages of the meditation to you, but also as we progress through, I will guide you throughout the meditation as well. So no need to be concerned if this is quite a new thing for you. So we're now several weeks into our lockdown, and it's quite surprising, isn't it, how for many of us it feels quite normal and how quickly we adapt to the situation that we find ourselves in. But I know, certainly talking to friends, talking to people who I'd normally encounter at the Buddhist Centre, many people are finding that they're turning to meditation to help them to really get through the day and to adjust to the new circumstances as well. So if that's why you're here, then that's great. And I think it's really important at this time to remember that we have a responsibility to ourselves as well, to make sure that our welfare is as good as it can be, and meditation can be very helpful with that. Many people tend to find that. So we're just a few minutes after 7:30 now. So I'll just give a brief introduction. So as I mentioned earlier, this is we're not coming from Nottingham Buddhist Centre. This is very close. I'm very close to Nottingham Buddhist Centre, but it's not coming from there this evening. And the centre has been closed now for a number of weeks. But fortunately, technology has meant that we're able to continue our meditations, our drop-in meditations that we normally do 3 times a week. So on Fridays and Tuesdays, so Tuesday evenings and then Friday lunchtimes, and Tuesday lunchtimes as well. So it's even though the centre is closed, all of the activities that are put on by the centre, by the Buddhist Centre, are still occurring in some capacity. But obviously, some of the classes, some of the yoga classes and things like that we would host, unfortunately aren't happening at the moment. But we are continuing with our meditation, and we will continue to do that at these drop-in sessions, at which everybody is welcome. So people come to meditation for all sorts of different reasons, and I think one of the main advantages of meditation is that it helps us to just connect with ourselves and connect with our bodies, connect with what's going on in the world around us, in a better way, and perhaps to live our lives a little bit more fully. And meditation can bring all sorts of benefits, and you don't have to be a Buddhist to meditate. Anybody can meditate and gain some of those advantages that come along with meditation. But what we're going to do first of all this evening is just have a little bit of a check-in with our bodies, just for a few minutes, just as a kind of a bit of a prelude to the main meditation. And then what we're going to do is be guided through the mindfulness of breathing meditation. So just to get us started, I'll just say a few words about posture before we get going. So whether you're sat in a chair or whether you're on the floor, the most important thing is to try and be in a nice alert position where you're not going to be getting too comfortable, so you're falling asleep, but equally a position that you could sustain for perhaps 20 minutes, which will be roughly the length of the main meditation we're doing this evening. So if you're sitting in a chair, just make sure you're sitting nice and upright. Ideally not with your back against the back of the chair, because if you do that, we sort of, after a little while, we do tend to slouch or just get a little bit too comfortable in that position. So if you're sitting in a chair, perhaps just leave an inch or two between your back and the back of the chair. And make sure that your feet are nicely planted on the floor. So one of the things to do as you're setting yourself up for a meditation is just to really connect with the sense of the feet on the floor, but also your sitting bones on the chair, if that's how you're sitting. And that's kind of grounds you for your meditation. If you're on the floor, whether you're on some cushions or a stool, the main thing is making sure you've got a nice upright but relaxed spine, and as I mentioned before, hopefully that you're in a position where you can feel nice and relaxed, but not so comfortable that you start to nod off. Okay, so we're just going to spend a few moments just to arrive. Just get yourself into a nice, relaxed, comfortable position, and as soon as you feel comfortable, I'd encourage you just to close your eyes. And all I want you to do is just notice any tension in your eyelids. How do your eyelids feel at this present moment? You may have had a very busy day. You've been working or doing other things. Just any tension that you're holding in your body. In this early stage, we want to just try and let that go. So what I'd like you to do is just notice if you're holding any tension in your eyes, and just try to let that tension ease away. And then just moving a little higher, notice the sensation in your eyebrows and your forehead. If you're one of those people that furrow their brow when they're a little stressed, just notice if you're holding tension in that area of your face at the moment. And if you are, just allow that to gently release, gently soften, smooth out those wrinkles. And then bring your awareness to the top of your head. Top of your head and moving down the back of your head as well. Very small muscles surrounding the skull, but we can hold tension here as well. So just notice if there's any tension, your scalp, back of your head. And often just by bringing your awareness to tension that you may have not even been aware of before, just shifting our focus can help us to gradually let that tension go. And now, bring your awareness to your neck and your shoulders. This is one of the commonest areas that people hold tension. It's a busy day. You see people's shoulders rise up to their ears. If that's you, just notice any tension, any tightness that might be in your neck or your shoulders. And just gradually feel gravity do its work, pulling your shoulders away from your ears. Gradually, gently releasing any tension you may find there. And now we're going to bring our awareness to our belly, to our mid-region. Just bring your attention there and notice any sensations that might be going on at this present moment. How relaxed does it feel in that central area? Perhaps just notice your breath as it moves your belly forward and backward. Is there a way that you can just let any tension in your belly just gradually ease away? Let each breath come in and go out and help you to release any tension that you may find there. And then finally, in this short awareness exercise, I want you to notice what your thighs, the tops of your legs, how do they feel at this moment? Are they relaxed where you're sitting? Or are you holding on to some tension in this area as well? You're holding on in your thighs. Just gently allow any tension there to soften and ease away. Once again, feel gravity doing its job, supporting your body wherever you happen to be sitting. And just give in to that sense of gravity, holding you down, supporting you wherever you happen to be. And just take a few moments to breathe into all those areas where we've been focusing our attention and allowing our body to gently release any tension we find there. Once again, gently bring your attention to any sensations in your thighs, your stomach, your tummy. Just notice how things are feeling now in your shoulders, an awareness of the back of your neck. Has the tension gone altogether, or it's a little bit crept back in perhaps as we've been going through this exercise? And notice your scalp, your forehead. Could they be any more relaxed. And finally, bring your attention back to your eyelids. Try to soften your gaze behind your closed eyelids. And allow any tension that may be hanging around there to drift away. Just take a few more breaths here. Your eyes closed as we bring this awareness exercise to a close. So in your own time, if you'd like to open your eyes, hello, and hopefully that's just helped to ground you a little bit in preparation for your meditation this evening. As I mentioned to you earlier, we teach two main meditations at the Buddhist Center. One is known as the Metta Bhavana, or the cultivation of loving kindness. But this evening we're going to be doing the other one, which is known as the mindfulness of breathing. Now, the mindfulness of breathing, in many ways, is one of the most straightforward meditations to learn, but it's something that we never really completely master. It's always the meditation practice itself can always be revisited with fresh eyes, and even if you've done it hundreds and hundreds of times, sometimes you'll do a mindfulness of breathing meditation and discover something completely different. One of the most important things with meditation is not to have too many expectations about what may or may not happen. I think it's important just to make sure that you try and make yourself as aware as possible of what you're experiencing at that present moment, and not be too hard on yourself as well. But this evening, what we'll be doing is having a guided meditation. So I'll talk you through the process a little bit first of all. I see that we've. Oh no, sorry, forgive me. I just thought I spotted something there, but that's okay. So a quick rundown of the meditation practice itself and how and the stages that we'll be going through. So the mindfulness of breathing is, as the name suggests, it's a meditation which focuses predominantly on the breathing. And the breathing is really something very special because it's the one thing that we can bring our attention to that connects our body, the body, the processes in our body with our mind. Because breathing is really quite unique. A lot of the time we don't think about it. It just happens. We have very little awareness, if any, of it at all. But of course, we can control our breathing. We can bring awareness to the breathing. We can stop breathing. We can increase our breathing if we want to. So it is that real special connection between mind and body. And this is why this type of meditation can be very, very helpful for a number of different reasons. And the meditation comes in 4 different stages. In the first stage, what we do is we bring attention to our breath, but we focus on the end of the breath. So what we do is we breathe in and we breathe out. And after we breathe out, we just mentally, in our minds, count 1. And then we breathe in and we breathe out. And again, in our mind, we just count 2. So not out loud, but what we're doing is just counting, marking the end of the breath. And it's really important with the mindfulness of breathing in all of the stages is we're not trying to control the breath. What we're trying to do is really just be observers of our body breathing. So during this first stage, we're watching the breath, breathe in, breathe out, and then count the breath. And the idea is that we aim to count 10 consecutive breaths. So breathe in, breathe out, 1. Breathe in, breathe out, 2. Breathe in, breathe out, 3. And we continue that process until we get to 10, and then we start all over again. So sounds simple. However, one of the tendencies that we have, because we're humans and our minds, sometimes it's almost as if they have a will of their own, that they will often want to wander off, and you'll start counting maybe just a couple of breaths, and your mind will be off somewhere else. Okay, so breathe in, breathe out, 1. Breathe in, breathe out, 2. Continue that up to 10. But if your mind wanders, don't worry. All you have to do is, when you notice that mind wandering, is bring your focus back to your breath and start again at 1. Okay, so that's the first stage. Breathe in, breathe out, 1, 2, 3, until we've counted 10 breaths, mark 10 breaths, and we're focusing particularly on the out breath. In the second stage, I will mark the changes in the stages with a bell. And in the second stage, we shift our focus to the beginning of the breath. And what we do at this stage is we count before, at that very moment, just before we breathe in. So we'll count 1, breathe in, breathe out, and then there'll be a small pause before 2. Count 2, breathe in, breathe out, and we continue that process right up until we've had 10 breaths again. So at this time, what we're doing is we're counting just before the breath enters the body. And just a reminder that what we're not doing is controlling the breath. You are observing your own breath, and you're just counting before each breath starts in the second stage. So once again, counting up to 10, if your mind wanders and you start to think of other things, and your focus is lost, it doesn't matter. That's what happens. But what we do at that point is then bring our focus back to 1 and start with 1, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, so that's the first 2 stages. In the third stage, we drop the counting altogether. And all we're doing is bringing our awareness to our breath, noticing the sensations of the breath in our body, and noticing the breath coming in, the breath coming out, but no counting whatsoever. So the counting goes all together in the third stage. And then in the fourth and final stage, what we do is we continue breathing, obviously, but we notice the sensation of our breath as it enters and leaves the body. So what we're looking for is any sensations at the point where we breathe in. So for most people, this is going to be the area around the nostrils, or perhaps just the top of the top lip here. So it's bringing awareness of where you notice the sensations of the breath entering and leaving the body. Okay, so they are the 4 stages. There's also no counting in the 4th stage, I should add. So they are the 4 stages of the meditation. So just a quick recap. First of all, we're monitoring the end of the breath and counting after each breath mentally. And then in the second stage, we shift the focus to the beginning of the breath, and we're counting just before the breath each time. In the third stage, what we do is we just drop the counting altogether and just focus on the breathing. And then in the 4th and final stage, we're just bringing our awareness to that point where the breath enters and leaves the body. Okay. So I will guide you through all of this. So I don't expect you to remember this. I will guide you through. But what I'd like you to do is now get yourself ready for meditation. We'll be here for around about 20 minutes. So just make sure you are in a nice, comfortable position. Remember what I said about having a nice upright back, but nice and relaxed as well, so that you're not too comfortable, but you feel just a little bit alert as well. Okay. So in your own time, if you'd like to just settle into that meditation position, and as soon as you're ready, I'd like you to just gently close your eyes. And just before we start the meditation, just become aware of your body, the weight of your body in your chair, your cushion, wherever you happen to be. Just be aware of your body resting here in space. And with eyes closed, just gently become aware of your body breathing. Just notice the rise and fall of your chest. But at no point during the meditation, try to control the breath. The mindfulness of breathing. So in the first stage, being aware of the breath, observing the breath, begin to gently mark the end of each breath with a count of 1. Breathe in, breathe out. 2. Breathe in, breathe out. 3. Remember not to control your breath. Simply observe your own breath at your own speed. Notice how you breathe in, breathe out, and count. Remember to keep counting after each breath. And you're trying to count gently 10 breaths in a row. Remembering to keep the counting just inside. No need to say the numbers out loud. Breathe in, breathe out. 1. Breathe in, breathe out. 2. Breathe in, breathe out. 3. Keep counting at your own speed until you've counted 10 breaths. Once you've done this, start over again. Breathe in, breathe out. 1. And if your mind wanders, don't be hard on yourself, but remind yourself that this is what our minds do. If your mind wanders elsewhere, just gently bring your attention back to your breathing and counting at the end of each out breath. And as you breathe out, perhaps you notice a sensation of feeling more settled. As you perhaps let some of the tensions of the day go, you settle more into your meditation. But all the time, focusing on breathing in, breathing out, and gently counting each breath after the out breath. So in your own time, continue following your own breath, counting after each out breath at your own pace. At all times, remembering focus should be on your breath. So if the mind wanders, just gently return to the breath each time. Now we move on to the second stage of the practice. Still observing our breath, noticing as we breathe in and breathe out. But this time, I want you to move the counting to the moment just before you breathe in each time. So just before the breath starts to enter the body, in your mind, count 1. Breathe in, breathe out. 2. Breathe in, breathe out. 3. Breathe in, breathe out. Continue counting right up until you reach 10 breaths. Once again, don't allow the numbers to control the breath. Simply observe your breath at your pace, but mark each in-breath with a number. And as before, if your mind wanders elsewhere, don't worry. If you lose track of your numbers, your counting, simply come back to the breath and start over again at 1. As you continue, gently remind yourself that your aim is to count 10 breaths. If you manage that, go back to the beginning and start again at 1. And as you continue your breathing, perhaps bring your attention to that brief moment before you count and the breath enters the body. A brief pause between your out breath and your in breath. Just notice that moment before you begin to count the next breath. And if your mind has wandered, or you found you've counted beyond 10, which can happen, as soon as you notice, that's a good thing, because you know now to return back to the breath and start again at 1. Reminding yourself that the counting is there to mark the breath, not to control the breath. Observe your breath. Mark each in-breath with a count. Moving on now to the third stage of the practice. And now we're going to drop the counting altogether and simply be aware of the sensation of the breath in your body. Just observe as you breathe in and breathe out. Notice how your breath feels within your body. Where do you notice your breath in your body? And once again, your mind may want to wander onto other things. But as soon as you notice that happening, simply, gently bring your attention back to your own breath. be aware of where the sensations in your body are, what you feel as you breathe in and breathe out. Where in your body do you notice your breath most? Your belly, your chest, your upper airways. Just notice the breath. One of those points as it enters and leaves your body naturally. Don't worry about how fast or slow your breath is. Just go with the natural flow, the natural rhythm of your own breath. Don't try to change anything. Simply observe your own breath in your own body. Just in your own time. We'll spend a little longer here, just simply observing our breath. Don't judge what's happening. Whether it's good or bad is not important. All you have to do is observe, to notice your breath. Moving on now to the fourth and final stage of the practice. Still observing our breath. Gradually bring your attention to the point where the breath enters and leaves your body. For most people, this will be the outer edges of the nostrils or the upper lip. But just bring your awareness to that gentle flow of air as it passes the entrance to your body. A gentle flow as you breathe in and breathe out. Just notice how that feels. Is it cold? Is it pleasant? Just become curious about how the sensation of your breath entering or leaving your body feels at that point where it enters or leaves your body. Do you perhaps notice the sensation more on one side of your nostrils than the other? Can you shift your attention from one side to the other in your own time? Allow yourself to play with the sensations. Just notice what's happening. As with all the other stages of the practice, don't change your breath in any way. Don't try to control your breath, but just be aware of what is happening at the point where the breath enters the body and leaves the body. Try to bring all of your attention to that point where you can feel the breath come in and feel the breath go out. Stay here for a few more moments, just observing the breath at the point where it enters and leaves our bodies. And in these last few moments of the meditation, still try to keep your focus on your breath. If your mind wanders, just bring it back to paying attention to the sensations around your nostrils or your top lip. Just keeping your eyes closed for a short while longer. Just gently bring awareness back to the whole of your body. Notice your breath throughout the whole of your body. And any sensations in your legs, your stomach, your shoulders or neck, your scalp, back of your head, your forehead, and finally bringing your attention back to your closed eyes. And gently, in your own time, allow your eyes to open as we conclude the meditation. So it's always really important after a meditation just to allow yourself a little bit of time to recover. Sometimes meditation can be quite a powerful experience, and it's really important to take care of yourself in those moments after the meditation, just to return back to your normal existence. I wanted to just say a few words about Nottingham Buddhist Centre and the practice and the work that we do at the centre before we finish this evening. It's great that we continue to get people attending these virtual drop-in meditations. And as I mentioned at the beginning, it's great that we've been able to continue most of the things, most of the meditations, most of the classes that we provide at Nottingham Buddhist Centre. But because what we want to do is to continue to benefit people and to provide those things which many people over the years since Nottingham Buddhist Centre has been there, many people have benefited from. So I have been coming to Nottingham Buddhist Centre for around about 5 years now, and I first encountered the centre as somebody just coming in for a drop-in meditation, very similar to what we've done this evening. And I very quickly began to realise the benefits personally for me of meditation. And actually, I first encountered the centre at a time that my dad was very poorly and subsequently died. And I remember even in those very early stages of engaging with meditation, how it gave me something to focus on at a very difficult time. And we're all going through quite a testing time, I think, at the moment, in very unusual circumstances that none of us could ever really have predicted. The closure of the Buddhist Centre means that some of the classes, some of the meditations that we would normally had on a face-to-face basis, obviously without having people coming to the centre, we are a centre that relies very much on donations. And it's quite a unique way, really, of being, because we want to be able to provide meditation and other things from the centre for as many people as we possibly can. And running a centre on generosity means that it's great that people are here and great that we can offer meditation classes, but we do rely on people's donations to keep the centre running. And unfortunately, the lockdown, the current pandemic we find ourselves in, means that the centre has a shortfall of about £1,500 per month. Now, if you are able to donate to the centre, I would be very grateful if you could find a way to do that. If you are able to spare some money, that would be very much appreciated, so that we can continue to offer the things that we do. But equally, if people aren't able to donate, then that is also fine, because it's really important that we're able to offer these things to people who may benefit from them. But equally, the way that the centre is run means that we do have a shortfall at the moment. So if you are able to donate, I would really appreciate your generosity there, and thank you in advance for that. If you do feel that you're able to donate, then there is actually a link within the YouTube channel that you can donate to. but also you can visit the Nottingham Buddhist Centre website, where there are opportunities there for you to give donations, and if you're able to do that, we would be extremely grateful. So as I mentioned to you before, we are continuing our drop-in meditations as we normally would. So that will be on Tuesday evenings, but also on Tuesday and Friday lunchtimes as well. So these meditations are also recorded. So if the times don't suit you, you can also watch them at a later date as well. I hope that you found this evening's session helpful or enjoyable. I will hang around, and if there are any comments that you'd like to give in the chat section there, I'll try and respond to those if I can. But equally, if you would like to go, that is also fine. And I thank you very much for attending this evening, and I hope to see you on one of these drop-in meditations at some point again in the future. Thank you very much.